There's a quiet kind of strength that rarely gets celebrated. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, and it doesn't wait for applause. It lives in the woman who wakes up every day knowing she has no backup, no safety net, no one coming to rescue her, and still, she chooses to fight. Not because she wants to, but because she has to. Because somewhere along the way, life handed her a reality where giving up was never an option. We often talk about courage like it's this big, dramatic moment. Like it's charging into battle or standing on a stage in front of thousands. But real courage is much quieter than that. It's getting out of bed when your heart feels heavy. It's showing up when no one is clapping for you. It's continuing forward when nobody even notices how hard it is for you to keep going. And for the woman who fights alone, courage becomes a daily habit, not a one-time act. She doesn't have the luxury of waiting for motivation. She doesn't get to say, "I'll do it when I feel ready." Because life doesn't pause for her feelings. She has responsibilities. She has dreams. She has battles that don't stop just because she's tired. And so she moves anyway. That's the difference. She moves despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the exhaustion. Not because she's fearless, but because she's learned that fear doesn't get to make her decisions. There's something incredibly powerful about someone who has learned to rely on themselves. Not because they wanted to, but because they had no other choice. When you're forced to stand on your own, you discover parts of yourself you never knew existed. You learn how strong you really are. You learn how to solve problems, how to adapt, how to survive. And eventually, you don't just survive, you grow. But let's be honest, fighting alone is not glamorous. It's lonely. It's exhausting. There are nights when she questions everything. Nights when the silence feels louder than any noise. Nights when she wonders if anyone even sees her struggle. And the truth is, sometimes no one does. Sometimes the world just keeps spinning, unaware of the battles she's fighting behind closed doors. And yet, she keeps going. Why? Because she has something deeper than recognition. She has purpose. She has a reason that doesn't depend on validation from others. And that's what makes her unstoppable. When your drive comes from within, when your why is stronger than your fear, you become incredibly resilient. You don't need someone else to believe in you, because you've learned to believe in yourself, even on the days when it's hard. The woman who fights alone doesn't wait for permission. She doesn't wait for someone to tell her she's capable. She's learned that waiting only delays progress. So she takes action. Imperfect action. Messy action. Action that doesn't always guarantee success, but moves her forward anyway. Because she understands something most people don't. Progress is built in motion, not in perfection. And yes, she fails. She falls. She makes mistakes. But instead of letting those moments define her, she uses them. She learns from them. She grows through them. Because when you're on your own, failure isn't the end, it's part of the process. It's feedback. It's a lesson. It's a step forward, even when it feels like a step back. What makes her journey even more powerful is that she doesn't let her circumstances become her identity. She may have been overlooked. She may have been underestimated. She may have been left to figure things out on her own. But she refuses to let that define who she is or what she can become. She rewrites her story every single day through her actions. There's also a discipline in her life that many people never develop. Because when you don't have anyone else holding you accountable, you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to push yourself when you don't feel like it. You have to stay focused when distractions are everywhere. You have to choose consistency over comfort, over and over again. And that's where real growth happens. It's not in the moments when everything is easy. It's not when you have support and encouragement all around you. It's in those moments when you're alone, when it's just you and your thoughts, you and your decisions, you and your effort. That's where character is built. That's where strength is forged. But here's the thing people often misunderstand. Just because she fights alone doesn't mean she doesn't feel the weight of it. It doesn't mean she doesn't wish for support. It doesn't mean she doesn't get tired. It simply means she has learned how to keep going even when those feelings are present. And that's what makes her different. She doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. She creates momentum in imperfect ones. She doesn't rely on external motivation. She builds internal discipline. She doesn't need constant reassurance. She develops self-trust. And over time, that self-trust becomes her greatest strength. Because once you trust yourself, once you truly believe that no matter what happens, you will find a way, you become fearless in a different way. Not fearless because you think nothing will go wrong, but fearless because you know you can handle it if it does. That's the mindset that changes everything. The woman who fights alone doesn't chase approval. She doesn't measure her worth by how many people are watching or supporting her. She measures it by her growth, her effort, her resilience. She understands that the journey she's on is hers, and hers alone. And while others may not fully understand it, she doesn't need them to. Because she knows what it took to get this far. She knows the sacrifices she's made, the tears she's hidden, the doubts she's pushed through, the strength she's had to build from nothing. And that knowledge gives her a quiet confidence. Not arrogance, not pride, but a deep, unshakable belief in herself. And eventually, something incredible happens. All those days of fighting alone start to compound. All those small steps, all those quiet victories, all those moments of choosing to keep going, they start to add up. And one day, she looks back and realizes she's not the same person she used to be. She's stronger, she's wiser, she's more resilient. Not because life got easier, but because she got better. And that's the ultimate transformation. It's not about avoiding struggle. It's about becoming someone who can rise through it. Someone who doesn't break under pressure, but adapts to it. Someone who doesn't wait for opportunities, but creates them. The woman who fights alone becomes a force. Not because she set out to be one, but because she had no other choice. And in that process, she becomes proof of something powerful, that you don't need perfect conditions to build an extraordinary life. You don't need constant support to achieve your goals. You don't need everything figured out to start moving forward. Sometimes, all you need is the willingness to keep going. Even when it's hard. Even when it's lonely. Even when no one else sees it. Because at the end of the day, the fight you're in is shaping you into someone stronger than you ever imagined. And while the world may not always recognize it, that doesn't make it any less real. So if you find yourself in that place, fighting your battles alone, understand this: there is strength being built inside you that cannot be taken away. There is resilience growing in you that will carry you further than you think. And there is a version of you on the other side of this journey that will. Look back and realize that every step, every struggle, every moment of doubt was part of becoming who you were meant to be.